I want to talk about playing the piano softly, like really, really softly. But I'm not going to whisper, because if I whisper, you might not hear what I'm trying to say. And that's the big difference with playing the piano. We're not talking about necessarily playing quietly, but softly, and cultivating in our students a technique which is going to be really secure and give them the sense that that sound will be there and it will be a nice round projecting sound when they want to produce a really soft effect at the piano. So I'm going to show you a couple of techniques and ways of exploring this with students that I use right from the early stages when students are in their first year of lessons to some more advanced students later on. And this is something that I've been using with smaller students, younger students recently. It's a ping pong ball in a glass of water. And what students want to do is to reproduce that sense of the approach to the key and learn how it feels to approach the key positively in order to create that soft sound. And students can push this ball down in the water very, very slowly and then slowly let it back up again, and keep that as controlled as possible as it goes slowly down and back up, and feel the ping pong ball has a great sense of buoyancy. So as you push it down gently, you can feel there's that resistance against your finger, and you want to feel that resistance. You want to feel the buoyancy and the weight of the ping pong ball pushing back up against your finger. You don't want to shove it down into the water, because that might splash you as it goes down, and you certainly don't want to let it splash back up by letting go of it quickly. So you've got that relationship between your finger and the weight of the ball, and you can really feel that. And then we can start to move that onto the piano and say, okay, I want you to pretend that the key of the piano is like that ping pong ball, and as you push it down, you can feel there is a weight in the key pushing back up against you. And that's when you know that that sound is going to be there and is going to be full, because you can feel how the relationship between your finger and the piano is really going to create that sound. And I often like to remind my students, of course, that inside the piano, here we are, inside the piano, each key is actually a seesaw. Young students are fascinated by this. There's like a whole playground in there of seesaws, isn't there? That, I push the key down at this end, and on the other side of the pivot here, it comes up at the other side. So we have a seesaw on every single key. And I say to them, you remember when you were a kid playing on the seesaw, there was always that kid you were trying to play with who wanted to just donk down so that you donked up on the other side and you go flying in the air. And it's quite an uncomfortable feeling, and they're probably a pretty lousy friend to do that. And they'd be a pretty lousy pianist as well, because you don't want that effect of really just being thrown in the air like that. But actually, we need that sense of connection with our friend. One of my young students has actually given a name to the imaginary friend that I have imagine that is sitting there on the other side of the seesaw, and she has a name for this little person, her friend, who she wants to feel as she's playing the piano, feel the weight of that friend. So we're making sure that I can feel the weight of the key going down, and it's just the right effect, just the right weight to lift my friend into the air, but not too much weight to play through the tone of the key and have them thrown into the air. So it does give them that very relaxed approach to playing the piano and to playing softly, that they're not pulling away from the piano and creating a sense that playing softly is a negative thing, but really playing fully into the piano to lift that seesaw and to lift their friend very gently up in the air and to lift that nice buoyant sound. And we can feel the great buoyancy in the key just as we have it in the seesaw. So there's our sound. And we can start to approach this now with a whole range of different repertoire. I have here the beautiful Berceuse of Bergmüller, number 7 from Opus 109. This is on the grade 5 syllabus for Trinity. And here Bergmüller marks this piece to be played pianissimo, but also cantabile. And I'll have students work through this really very, very slowly and say to them, you know, I want you to feel the buoyancy and the sense of buoyancy in each key as it pushes back up against your finger like that ping pong ball. And just work through each note individually to feel that sense of connection and the weight of each key beneath you. And then we can take that feeling and put it back into the full speed. It sounds like it might be quite a laboursome thing to do, but actually students tend to love it because it feels wonderful on their fingers. It's a beautiful feeling. I had an 8-year-old said to me a couple of weeks ago, you know, I feel so calm doing this. And then she said this remarkable thing. She said, I feel at one with the piano. Isn't that a wonderful thing for an 8-year-old to say? I feel at one with the piano. Well, of course you do. It shouldn't really surprise us that she would say that, because what we're doing, we're using our body to feel the entire mechanism in the piano and really get that connection with the whole of the feeling of what's going on inside there, and feel that working with us as we play, not pulling away from it, but really playing our pianissimo into the piano. And if we're feeling that sense of connection with the mechanism inside the piano, then we're really starting to get that sense of a connection between us and the sound which is coming out of the piano. And if that inner part of us is feeling connected directly to the sound that's coming out of the piano, well, that puts us in the best position of all to express ourselves. And surely there can be no higher aim in making music than that. Cheers.